Hi, Vibe Tribe. Take two. Thank you for anyone who is bearing with us and getting us through these technical difficulties. We appreciate it. So we're going to start over again. Welcome to Wednesday. It's the middle of our week, and we are going to have a little cooking workshop. We had one last month, and it was an awful lot of fun. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this one as well. As part of our wellness initiative, we like to talk about all the different types of wellness that we need in our lives, and some of that includes emotional and mental and spiritual and community, and some of it is physical. And I know we do a lot of that with our dancing and our strength work, but another component of our physical well-being is what we eat and how we fuel our active lives. So today I was thinking that we'd make something that's pretty easy and pretty fun and pretty delicious. We're going to make granola. Granola is something that is super customizable, super easy to make. Once you start making it, you're going to realize you never need to go out and buy it again, because you can make it even better and a lot more suited to your preferences and how you like it. Is so much better than getting it at the store. And you can make an awful lot of it, and it's easy to eat on the go, and it's easy to eat in different ways. It can be a meal, it can be a snack, it can be pretty much anything you want it to be. So I have gathered all my ingredients together because I wanted to make sure that we could kind of get everything in the oven as quickly as we can. But I'm just going to run through the basics. The primary ingredient in most oatmeals, not all, but most oatmeals in most granolas is oats. So these are rolled oats. There are several varieties of oats that are available. Rolled oats are what are recommended for granola. There's also steel cut oats, which are usually called oat groats. That's oats in their most raw form. And while they're delicious and very healthy and they retain all of the nutrients of the actual raw oats, they are harder for your body to break down and digest, and they are not quite as easy to chew and to feel when you're eating your granola. So rolled oats are those same oat groats that have been steamed and pressed. So it loses a little bit of the rawness of the oat groats, but it makes it easy for your body to digest. There's also instant oats, and instant oats are similar to rolled oats in that they've been steamed and they've been pressed, but they've also been further ground so that they're smaller and they cook even faster. As with all foods, the more you process them, the more you touch them, the more you change them, it affects their nutritional profile. There's not that huge a difference between oat groats, rolled oats, and instant oats, but for the sake of granola, we want the rolled oats because we need them to be able to withstand the heat of the oven that we're going to be having, but we also want our bodies to still be able to break them down. So we're starting with our oats. What we do from there is completely up to you. Granola can be made with it's generally made with a variety of nuts and seeds and whatever mix-ins sound good to you on that day. So I'm going to be using a mix of nuts and seeds. I have here half a cup of sunflower seeds. They're just raw sunflower seeds. So I'm going to add those to my oats. And I also have here a half a cup of pumpkin seeds. They're just raw pumpkin seeds. All of these are really healthy and delicious, and they're good for both flavor and for nutritional density. And we can talk a little bit about that once we get it in the oven, just so that we can maybe get to see the end product. As far as nuts, I couldn't decide what nuts to use, so I actually chose chopped hazelnuts. You can choose whatever you want. The whole idea here is that you want, for 4 cups of oats, which is what we started with, you want approximately a cup and a half of mix-ins. So I'm using half a cup of the pumpkin seeds, half a cup of the sunflower seeds, and I have a 1/4 cup here of the hazelnuts so that I can also have a few other mix-ins. I have flax seeds and I have chia seeds, and I'll talk about the nutritional properties of both of those. These two are considered superfoods, and they're kind of nutritional powerhouses, which is part of the reason why granola is so good, because you can pack a nutritional punch while eating something absolutely delicious. So that's 2 tablespoons each, so a grand total of a cup and a half of all of our mix-ins. We're going to have some other kinds of mix-ins as well, but some can go in the oven and some can't. So the nuts and the seeds, they can all go in the oven. Our later mix-in, whatever you would want to add for flavor, can include dried fruits, can include chocolate chunks or chocolate chips. Those are fantastic and they can absolutely be added in, but you don't want to put those into your mix before you put it into the oven because the dried fruit will just become little hard coal nuggets and those don't taste good or feel good. And the chocolate will just melt. It won't stay as chocolate chip coat it won't work the same way. So I took all my dry ingredients together until they look nicely incorporated. I'm not going to add all this. This is actually crispy rice cereal. I like the extra bit of crunch that gives my granola. It makes it a little crispy. If you've never had toasted crispy rice cereal, trust me, it's actually delicious. So I'm adding a little bit of that. I didn't really measure it out. I'm just adding it. And that's really another one of the fun aspects of homemade granola is you can really make it how you want it, how you like it, and however it tastes good. So once we have our dry ingredients combined together, we need to add our binder. It's a mix of wet ingredients. And the binder is approximately 50% oil, 50% sweetener. So I'm using half a cup of each. I'm using half a cup of coconut oil. Coconut oil is really good for your body in so many different ways. I actually use coconut oil not only in cooking, but also as a moisturizer and as a makeup remover. So in case you wanted any random skin tips, it's really good for your hair. I sometimes use it for a hair mask as well. So I used half a cup of coconut oil. Yes, I separate out the one I use in the kitchen and the one I use for the other stuff. And then a sweetener of your choice. You can use any sweetener that you like. It's recommended to use a liquid sweetener. It's easier for it to mix in. When you're using coconut oil, you have to remember that coconut oil is a solid anywhere below 76 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're using coconut oil, you want it to be liquid for the sake of our recipe. So I have a little pot here. I mix together my sweetener and my coconut oil, and I just put it on a low heat just until the coconut oil melted. You're not cooking it, you're merely melting it. I also added a splash of vanilla extract because I'll add vanilla extract to just about anything. Right now, before we combine the two, is where you also want to add any other flavors that you're going to be using. So you can add cinnamon, you can add nutmeg, ginger, cloves, cardamom, any powdered spices that you'd like to add at that point. I'm actually going to add a little bit of salt, and this is coarse salt. Salt sometimes gets a bad rap, but salt's really good for bringing out the natural flavors of whatever it is that you're eating. You're not going to taste it as in making it feel salty, but it's going to make each of the ingredients feel a little bit more like what they're actually supposed to taste like. Especially once we mix everything all together, it's really good for them to maintain their integrity so you feel like you're tasting all of the ingredients as opposed to just one combined mass. So for my sweetener, I chose to use date syrup. I happen to like it. You can use honey, you can use agave nectar, you can use maple syrup, you can even use brown sugar or non-liquid sweeteners, but it's recommended if you do that you do only use 50% of the non-liquid and mix it with whatever liquid sweetener of your choice. And I would also recommend cooking that down a little bit because you want it to be in liquid form. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this mix, which, as I said, it's just the melted down coconut oil and the date syrup and a splash of vanilla. I'm going to pour that right into my mixture of nuts and seeds and oats. And I'm going to toss it all together until it's decently well coated. One of the things that people like with granola is when it's nice and chunky. So when it makes those clumps, because they're nice and crispy. Some people, on the other hand, like it to still be a little bit looser, a little bit more like cereal. And that's one of the fun things, again, about making it yourself, is with a little bit of experimentation, you can find the ratio that works for you. You can find how much liquid, how much sweetener, how much oil, how much of all of that works for you. I happen to like it when it's kind of combined. I like it a little bit looser, but with a few clumps. So here we have it decently mixed together, and I have my oven already preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the secrets for getting it to be a little bit clumpier is to pack it really well on your baking sheet. I have just a regular standard quarter sheet baking sheet, and I have it lined with a silicone baking mat. You can use parchment paper, whatever works for you. Because of the oil content in the actual recipe that we're using, you don't have to worry too much about coating it with cooking spray or butter or oil. That's completely your choice, especially considering that throughout the baking time, we are going to be taking it out and shuffling it up a little bit. So just to get it started, and because I do want some clumps as we go, I'm patting it down, squishing it in, and I'm not spreading it out completely to the edges of my pan. So what I'm going to do is get this into the oven. Right over here, it's already preheated. And we're going to get that going. While that is going, I want to talk a little bit about the different ingredients that we did use and a little bit about the different ingredients that we're going to use as we complete our recipe. So the first thing I want to talk about is why I chose granola, other than the fact that it's delicious. The reason why I chose granola and why I want to talk about some of these ingredients is because every ingredient that goes into granola is actually very, very nutrient dense. What that means is that for each bite of each of these ingredients that you're going to get, there are vitamins, minerals, macronutrients, micronutrients, all of which are going to fuel your life and fuel your body. Almost everyone who's watching this, I'm assuming, is aiming to live a healthy and active lifestyle. And in order to do that, you have to fuel your body appropriately. You need all the vitamins, all the minerals, you need everything so that your body can not only have the energy to do everything you want it to do, but also can grow and can be as strong and can repair after all the activity that we do. So all the foods that we're including in here are really built to help us do just that. So as I said, oats are the primary ingredient. And one thing about oats is that it's a very, very healthy grain, and it's a whole grain, especially when we're eating it in its most full form. They are one of the grains with the highest composition of protein, other than like quinoa has a lot of protein as well. And you can also include quinoa in your granola if you so desire. They are a good source of carbs and also of fiber, both of which are going to help your body keep on moving. Carbs are a great source of energy, which also we need for our brains to function. And they also include a different type of fiber called beta-glucan, which has a lot of health benefits that include things like lowering your cholesterol, improving your body's ability to manage blood sugar, and boosting the immune system. So all of those are really great. Oatmeal should actually be part of your regular dietary routine. Just, it's so good. The other thing with oatmeal is that because of its protein content and its healthy fats, it's very good on maintaining satiety, which means it's going to help keep you satisfied. It's not just being full, it's about being satisfied. You know how sometimes you eat something and you feel full, and then 20 minutes later you're like, well, I don't feel satisfied. I still want something else, no matter how full I felt. Oats tend to help not only make you full, but also make you satisfied. So they're really good for a great source of energy that can also help. They are a very nutrient-dense food because they're rich in vitamins and minerals, including manganese, phosphorus, magnesium, copper, iron, zinc, folate, vitamin B1, vitamin B5, and they also contain a measurable amount of calcium, potassium, vitamin B6, and vitamin B3. So all of that, it's a lot of, it feels like I'm reading a nutrition label, but what that means is that it's not just empty calories, it's not just carbs, it's not just any one single thing, that it really packs a powerful punch. And that's one thing that we should be striving for in a lot of our meals and in a lot of our food choices, and making sure that we're satisfying all of our needs, our nutritional needs and also our yumminess needs. So, as I said, we're also using nuts and seeds, and some of the benefits of that is that they are high in protein and they're high in very healthy fats. And one of the interesting things is the way that especially nuts are naturally packaged, the way they are in their whole form, is that the way their fat molecules and protein molecules are set up within the actual food itself, it allows your body maximum absorption of what it needs without actually weighing your body down. People hear fats and they think it's scary or they think it's bad, or people hear protein and they want to limit it as a macronutrient, based on their macro blend. Nuts are really a great form, and a lot more research is coming out these days about how healthy nuts are and how your body actually processes them. So Nuts and seeds are very, very powerful. They also are high, as I said, high in protein, but also high in antioxidants, including polyphenols, which help to neutralize free radicals. A lot of medical talk, well, pseudo-medical talk, but polyphenols, the reason why we want to neutralize the free radicals is because free radicals can damage cell molecules, and that can speed up the progression of aging, the progression of certain illnesses like cancer. So when you're eating foods that help your body to neutralize those free radicals, you're actually aiding your body in being able to maintain its cell structure and to help keep your body healthy from the inside out. As I said, we also included chia seeds and flax seeds. Chia seeds and flax seeds are both, they kind of have a similar, if you look up the health benefits of them, they kind of have a similar profile when you look it up. They're high in protein. They are high in amino acids, which means that the protein that is in them is easy for your body to access. There's different types of proteins and different types of ways that the foods package that protein, and sometimes it's easier for your body to get, and sometimes it's more difficult. So this has protein that is very easy for your body to access, which means that it's going to go directly towards helping your muscles repair themselves and build themselves from all the activity that we're doing. And it's going to help power your brain and body and help your nails grow and your hair grow healthy. So, they also contain omega-3 fatty acids, which actually they're super healthy for you. Most people, when they think of omega-3s, they think of like salmon. Chia seeds have more omega-3s gram for gram, like equal measure, than salmon. So it's teeny tiny little seeds that pack a really powerful punch. Chia seeds and flax actually both contain calcium and other minerals that help with bone health as well, bone, nails, hair, all of that. So as I said, very powerful punch right with just these little seeds. Now the next thing we're going to do, now that we've talked about some of that, is we need to talk about what we're going to mix in at the end. This is where a lot of the other flavor comes in. It's what you also mix in. I like to include dried fruit in my granola. So I couldn't decide which ones to use again. So I chose dried cranberries, dried coconut, and I have here candied ginger. I don't know about you guys. I am a huge fan of candied ginger. I just get it in these chunks, so I'm just going to cut it up. It's really good to keep in mind as you're making the granola, the size of all the pieces that you're using. You don't want anything, like for example, if you were using whole nuts, like I have my hazelnuts chopped, if you were starting from whole, which I was, you'd want to make them into bite-sized pieces so that it's really easy to pick up, so you can think of how you're going to be eating your granola and what's going to be able to be easily picked up on the spoon. And that's another fun thing that we can talk about is granola is not just a one meal wonder. It's not just a single use type of food. You can eat granola in a lot of different ways. You can have it as a cereal. You can have it dry as a snack. You can actually, the way we're baking it, you can bake it into granola bars. You can eat it on the go. A lot of people use it sort of as trail mix when they are going either hiking or going to be out all day. And because of how nutrient dense all of the ingredients are, you know you're going to be packing yourself kind of a powerful punch, whether you eat it for breakfast or have it on the go while you're out and about doing all your activities. Sorry about that. You know you're going to be giving yourself exactly the kind of energy that your body can both use and access at the time that you're eating it. So, and you know you're going to feel good afterwards. And that actually is the other part that I wanted to talk about with why I chose this. We talk about food as fuel, we talk about nutrition, we talk about staying healthy. But one of the things I think we don't talk about and that we kind of forget when we're talking about nutrition or when we're thinking about nutrition is that nutrition does not just serve the purpose of fueling our bodies. It's not just about watching your macro balance or making sure that you're getting, all the right nutrients. That is absolutely all important, and absolutely don't want you to think that you should forget about that. But food serves a couple other purposes as well. And that's one of the fun things about cooking fresh and making your own choices. Because food's also supposed to be enjoyed. And food is also about community and being together and doing things that fuel your soul as well. And it's interesting to talk about food as fueling your soul, but it really can. And it really can serve a dual purpose that way. So it's one of the fun things about being able to customize it this way is that we can all kind of compare notes and we can all talk about the different ways that that we've made our own, and we can compare and contrast notes and flavors. This is not opening, so I need to grab my scissors. So that's part of why I thought it was important to, or it was an interesting choice. So I'm going to mix together all of my additional add-ins. You need about a cup of the extras. You don't want it to completely overpower everything else you did. As you can see, I'm not actually measuring, and you know what? That's okay. It's totally okay. They say that baking is a science and cooking is an art. Granola is kind of a combination of the two. Yes, it's baking in the oven, and yes, it requires certain ratios, but there's a little bit of an art to it, and there's a little bit of a freedom in it because you can customize it however you want. I'm not sure how this link is working. I don't know if it's possible. If you have any questions, you can put them in there. Sorry, we wanted to use the other. But the next thing I'm going to do is check on the granola that's in the oven, because what we want to do is we want to break it up a little bit as it cooks so that it doesn't actually, I'm not trying to create an actual granola bar here. So let's check on it and see how it's doing. Well, I can tell you one thing, I wish I had smell-o-vision because it really does smell delicious. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it really is melting and coming together. So I'm just going to break it up a little bit. Because as I said, we don't want it to be wholly a granola bar. Now the thing with this, it's going to cook for approximately 20 to 25 minutes combined after our couple instances in the oven. And you want to make sure you pull it out before it actually looks too toasted because you don't want it to burn. It's delicious, but there's a fine line between toasted and burnt, so you want to be careful with that. I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup and then talk a little bit more about fueling our active lives, and then we'll see how that's going. I don't want to bore you just while it's in the oven, but part of why we want to have a balanced view and a balanced opinion on nutrition is because it's not just for physical health, it's also for mental health. Fueling your body allows your brain to free up time and space to do everything else that you need to do during the day. So it gives you the energy physically and mentally to complete all the other tasks that you have on your to-do list. And it allows your body to be able to rebuild everything it needs to from the inside out so that you can not even have to worry about all that. And that's why it's so good to have these nutrient-dense foods and snacks so that you don't have to worry about whether your body's going to run out of energy in the middle of your bar class or Zumba class or any of that. So we also want to make sure that we're keeping in mind all the different macro and micronutrients. So I know sometimes there's all these trends about different high this, low this, different ways of eating. And one of the things to remember is that your body actually needs all of it. And your body also actually needs the sugars that are in the dried fruit. Sometimes people say that fruits aren't good for that. Your body actually needs some of that. So don't even stress. Make it how you like it, make it how you enjoy it, and make sure that your nutrition is actually a part of your entire body, mind, and soul wellness that you're trying to take care of. So we can keep our energy up and we can keep on going. I'm seeing, hold on, I'm a little further away from the screen. So I'm seeing, here we go. Can you mix in, you can absolutely mix in anything you want. Some people actually mix in fresh fruits into their granola as well. I never have, because that means it needs to be refrigerated. I don't want to have to refrigerate my granola. The interesting thing about, and you can incorporate any flavor you want. As I said, I put vanilla extract into my wet mixture. You can incorporate your flavors any way you want, any spices, any flavors. If they're a wet component, you can add it in with your wet mixture. If they're a dry one, like ground cinnamon, ground ginger, ground nutmeg, you can 100% add that in with your oats and seeds and nuts and your other mix-ins. Some people going to say because I'm doing my dried fruits separately. I'm doing them after it's cooked. I'm going to mix them all in so that they'll still have their texture and they're true to them. Some people actually like to incorporate their dried fruit into the clumpiness. You know how I said some people like the big clumps of granola. That's part of the joy of it for them. And sometimes they want their dried fruit mixed in to that. So if that is the way you prefer it, to have your dried fruit not kind of be an extra mixed in layer at the end, you can actually soak your dried fruit in a little bit of anything you want, to be honest. You can soak it in water if you want. Doesn't add any flavor, and sometimes saps a little flavor from it. You can soak it in juice. You can soak it in alcohol. Some people choose to soak it in a rum or another alcohol that is flavored based on what they're doing. A coconut rum for something tropical like this is a popular choice. Soak it there for about a half an hour and then drain out the liquid. It'll some of that liquid will soak up into the dried fruits, and when you incorporate it in with your mix before you put it into the oven, it'll keep your fruit from turning into those little burnt nuggets. That's actually one of the joys of making something like this, where you can really add whatever flavor components that you want, whatever you like. If you like chocolate, if you want it to be kind of a chocolate granola, you can mix cocoa powder into your dry mixture before adding the wet, or you could melt a little bit of chocolate into your wet mixture and have that coat all of your oats and all of your nuts and all of your seeds as you go. There is certainly no restrictions as to what you can add into it based on how you like it. It's also interesting to note that way you can actually make it suit any dietary restrictions that you may be working with. For example, if you are gluten-free, many oats are processed in the same facilities as other wheat products, but you can get certified gluten-free rolled oats, and then you can customize all your other ingredients to meet that. Or if you have any food allergies, then you can certainly avoid those things. My son used to be allergic to many different tree nuts, so I would make all our granola homemade, because a lot of the ones you get in store either have nuts in them or are made in nut facilities. So I would just make our own with seeds, like the sunflower seeds and the pumpkin seeds. Once this comes out of the oven, I'll show you what it looks like. And then this can keep fresh for a couple of weeks if it lasts that long, because it doesn't usually in our house. You just want to store it in an airtight container. Usually, because in my house, it's usually gone in a couple of days early. I can sometimes even just put it in a zip top gallon-size zip bag and keep it with our other cereals, and we eat it either for breakfast as cereal, or we sprinkle it on yogurt or ice cream, or just put it into little snack containers and throw it in people's lunches, and they can eat it as a little snack, as a little power boosting snack at school, which, now they can have it right here at school. So, because right now in our house, we have 2 different classes going on in 2 different rooms. So it's the name of the game. I was going to call that the Keeping It Real talk, because I wasn't sure if we were going to have my son's gym class interrupting our feed. So it can last for about 2 weeks, if it does last that long. My plan is to put it into this container, seal it really tight, and see how long it lasts. It's also good, you can share it with anyone who might be watching this and want to share it with some neighbors, see what they'd like. One more interesting thing about granola is that all of the components of it are edible on their own. And I know some people wonder about the different ways you can eat it. There is a variation on granola called raw nola, and it's oftentimes found in the raw vegan movement. Not required for that. I am neither raw nor vegan, but you can eat any of the components of this completely on their own. And sometimes you can make different sorts of combinations that way. One thing that I have done that is absolutely delicious, and I highly recommend you try it, is take oatmeal and some of your dried fruits. Works very well with dates. Put them in a blender, and it makes almost an edible cookie dough. Absolutely delicious, but that makes something clumpy. It's completely raw, it's clumpy, and I've sprinkled that on my ice cream or my yogurt. Absolutely delicious. It's a lot of the components of granola is just not cooked. Another option that you have, if you don't want to bother with cooking it, and if you don't want to bother with excess sweeteners, is you can make muesli, which is basically raw granola without the liquid aspect of it. So it's all your oats, your nuts, your seeds, and your dried fruits mixed together and eaten that way. And that, again, similar to granola, it can be stored for a couple of weeks, but it's delicious eaten many different ways. So that's the benefit of using rolled oats versus those oat groats, those the steel cut oats, which is the oat groats, which is just the most raw form that you can get them. Your body would have a hard time digesting that. And you wouldn't want to use instant oats for that either. They're already steamed and processed so much that it would not have a very good mouthfeel. So it's totally customizable, totally up to you, and you have so many options. So let's check on this one more time. Still smells pretty good in here. All right, I can definitely tell it's starting together. I'm not totally clumped up yet, so what I'm going to do is, as I mix it, I'm going to pat it down a little more. So this is probably going to take another little bit, and I don't want to completely bore you and talk your ears off. So if there's any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, what I think I might do is not make you watch my oven do its thing, considering that's not the most interesting part. And then I could share pictures of the completed process, or the completed product once it's completely out of the oven. It's probably between taking it out, letting it cook a little more, taking it out of the oven, letting it cool for just a moment. It's going to take a little bit because I don't want it to cool. I don't want it to put in the dried fruit too early when it's too hot. I don't want to melt the natural sugars and the sugars that are in there. You can tell it's done when it's not completely sticky to the touch and when the oats look toasted. Depending on the sweetener that you use, like my date syrup is pretty dark, so it's a little tough to tell. It's a little tough to tell by color because the date syrup is dark. But you can tell when it looks toasted, but it doesn't look burned. So that's, once it's been about 20 to 25 minutes, you're going to want to keep an eye on it just to be able to tell. The outside edges are where you're going to see it the most. You can also tell by the feel. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the spatula that I was using to stir it, and you can tell that it still looks pretty wet on the spatula. And we want it to not be quite as wet on there because that just means that it hasn't crystallized the sugars and the oil. The coconut oil on there is going to keep it a little bit wet, but when it comes out to room temperature and as the temperature drops below 76 degrees, that oil will solidify even more. So that will keep it looking a little better, but you'll be able to tell it won't be quite this looking like the syrup that I poured onto it. And you can also sometimes tell by smell. That just takes a bit of getting used to. If you want to play with flavors, you can make your granola seasonal. So you can totally add a little bit of pumpkin, canned or pureed pumpkin in with your wet mixture. And you can make sure that you're using any seasonal spices that you like. Maple and pumpkin go really well together. You can add, I know I had it in what I posted on our members page and in the event. If you want, you can use some nut or seed butter, peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, sunflower seed butter. You can melt that in with your wet mixture and put it on. Seriously, everything just takes it up a notch and makes it completely how you want it. You can base it off of any other dessert that you like. If you like apple crisps or if you like apple pie for the season, you can use dried apples and apple pie spices when you're completing it. If you want it to be more tropical, the coconut, and you can do dried pineapple or dried mango, any of that would totally work. You can use any flavors you want to customize it. You can also, when you're serving it, you can drizzle chocolate over it. If you're not happy with the sweetness level, you can drizzle some more sweetener. It's completely customizable for however you want it to be. Are there any other questions? I'm seeing just a couple, and I am very excited at who I'm seeing on. Hi. But it's just a good time, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy. It's something that you can really just have fun with. It's going to probably take another 10 minutes in the oven. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to let it do its thing, and then you guys can do your thing as well. And I will post the finished pictures on our Facebook page And then what I hope that you guys will do is maybe try and make some as well. And hopefully that you can share your pictures too, and we can kind of compare notes and see what you each used. As I said, I used ginger, coconut, cranberry as my extra mix ins. And I have hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds and flax seeds, and some crispy rice cereal mixed in with my oats. So every one of us is going to come up with a different combination. Every one of us is going to have a slightly different flavor. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. I really hope that you guys take a moment to just enjoy what you're eating, enjoy what you're doing, and to make a fun part of your routine. So thank you guys for watching. It's so weird to not see you. So I hope that you guys are having a great day. Enjoy our month. We have our new month. So I hope refocusing on what they can do to live the life that they absolutely want to live. Making some time to play with your food and make your nutrition not only something that fuels your body, but also something that fuels your soul. So I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to see your granolas. Bye, guys.